Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the
Hi, Air Boss.
To the fourth quarter safety meeting, technically in the first quarter. Real quick with the airplanes. So 28 Fox just returned from Cecil from its annual, so it's got a fresh set of hours. I'll probably put it on in November on the schedule, just because we're halfway through the month, and then for insurance purposes, instead of paying a full month's insurance with somebody who flies it for 2 hours, we've already lost money on it. I don't want to lose more. 50 Echo, so we did get the COM2 issue fixed. We took it back up. They put the COM2 radio in. Its annual is scheduled for the end of October. They'll sign it off in November. So we have about 10 hours left on it until technically it would have been the 100. So we'll fly those 10 hours off, which will leave us enough time to get it to Cecil for its annual. So whether it's calendar time or time, the end of this month, it's going over to Cecil for an annual. So it should be back first week November. 273, nothing to brief. It's got 23 hours until it's 100. 011, annual's complete. It's got 43 hours until it's 50, but the no strut is flat again, so I took it off the schedule today. Dave knows about it. They'll be in tomorrow to fix it. So don't want to talk about that one. So we hired another flight instructor, Bill Duda. You'll see him on the schedule. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it tonight. So he says hi. So he's fully qualified and everything. He's a double I. So if you need, hit him up. His schedule's a little wonky, but he is available, I think, at least 5 or 6 days a week. His hours vary throughout the week. So for last quarter's business, we had 545 flight hours, 375 maintenance hours, and 523 hours of instruction. We had 65 flights canceled for weather and 9 no-fly days. So we're about 300 hours short of last year's flying time, which really isn't bad considering we were down to 1 airplane, down to 2 airplanes for quite a while. So thanks to everybody who flew, who made that happen. I think we're kind of out of that phase right now because Dave and those guys really tore into the airplanes. So they haven't even actually been to work at all pretty much this month. Part of it's due to the weather. We haven't been doing a lot of flying. So since the base hadn't exercised, the flying's really dropped off. So I'm not sure why, if people are super busy or if people are saving money for the holidays, but that's where we're at on that. So just to reemphasize the fact that we reduced the flying hours at night from 2200 to 0600. And the main reason is it doesn't make a lot of sense to me for what we do here to put our airplanes and people in the air at that time of the morning, right? From 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock, people are flying 8 o'clock at night until 4 o'clock in the morning with, I don't know what they were doing during the day. They could have been sleeping, but the point is, it's hard for me to justify to somebody else, say the wing commander, if we do have an accident at that time of day, why were you letting people fly at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So if you think about what we do here, yes, it's important, but is it important at 3 o'clock in the morning just to get hours? So if you're wondering why we did that, that's why we did that. So because it's hard for me to justify to other people why we're doing that. But if you do have to fly or you want to fly throughout those hours, either request to myself or JJ and at least give us like 48 hours so we can at least, if we have any questions, and of course, first questions out of our mouth is what's your crew rest like, what's your duty day look like, you know, all the stuff that we need to mitigate, then we'll go at it from there. And it's not a hard no. Like I said, we've had some people like, hey, my flight plan, I'm not getting back till 10:30. Okay, that's fine. Just be back by 10:30. So just know that the hours have changed and that's why. So Mr. Ed updated the checklists for all the P models, 011, 273, and 50 Echo. So with all the new avionics upgrades, updates, the weights, all that stuff. So I just uploaded those into the Google Docs. So if you don't have those on your iPads, The new ones are in there, so they got all the right stuff. So if you don't have the right checklist, now's the time to do it. So they're there. Just swap out the checklist, because Ed was saying somebody was asking him for the one for 273 or whatever. So now they're all on the Google Drive. And y'all got the email that I sent out with the stuff that Bruce Williams was sending out about Bash Phase 2. And then all the, I'm not 100% sure what the taxiways are going to be, what they're closing, what they're not closing. So just keep an eye on the NOTAMs. It's supposed to be around the 21st of October, I think, for Taxiway Echo, right over there by the south ramp. It's supposed to be like 50 or 60 feet of concrete they're pulling up. It's supposed to be kind of a massive thing. It's going to be closed. I don't know if it's going to be completely closed to us after hours, kind of like they did here. They put up the barriers and we just taxi to the left side of the taxiway, or the right side, wherever there's not a big hole. Taxi there. But that's all going to be up to Bruce. So keep your eye on the NOTAMs for that. And the Bash Phase 2, it started October 1st and goes through March 31st. The peak bird window is 60 minutes prior and 60 minutes after sunset and sunrise. So just know that, and this has a lot for some of the students, if you're flying early or even coming back late, remember, have a plan, because if it goes bird severe, you're not landing. They don't care what your scenario is. So I know some of our members fly really, really early. I don't think it affects us because I can't find it in the verbiage, but I know that we're technically designated as like maneuverable, unlike the C5s and C17s, which are not very maneuverable. So that doesn't affect us the same way it does the heavies. So, but just know that if it goes bird severe, nobody's moving. So once again, on your way in, have a plan, and on your way out, have a plan. And then just because it's at Dover, birds migrate everywhere. So if you're going into Georgetown, you know, if you're going up to Smyrna, if you're going to Delaware Air Park, you're right in the corridor. So just keep an eye out and watch for them. The bugs should be leaving this time of year, but we're still seeing them on the windshields and still seeing them on the wings. So just do us all a favor. If you fly the airplane, look at the wings, if it's dirty, clean it. If there's no cleaner in it, let us know. We'll put the cleaner in it. I look in, whenever I get the chance to look in the airplanes, that's the first thing I look for is the bottle. And then sometimes I see the bottle's full and there's bugs all over the wings. So let's see if we can fix that. Once again, we've changed the rule again. Not changed, but reinforcing it more that we don't want anybody in the hangar. That's Dave and Don's area. So just leave them be. If you need to go in there, make sure you get their attention before you see them. Get their attention. Let them know what you want. If you're trying to get to the aircraft binder, because for some reason you want to look at it, those are pretty much off limits too. Talk to Dave, Don, myself, somebody. I need the book. Okay, we'll get you the book. Don't just go walking back there, going through their cabinets. I've seen that, and I know some of our instructors. Yeah, students, just go back and get the books. Don't go back and get the books. Tell the instructor to go back and get the books. And if they don't, then tell me and I'll go get it. Like always, all your flight lesson, biannual flight reviews, blah, 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 all need to be on your 1584. They need to be signed and they need to be filled out. And they need to be signed by both the instructor and the student pilot, or whatever pilot you are at the time. It's usually a student if you're put on one of those. And make sure that your instructor writes something that you did and you agree with what they wrote. You're paying for them to fill out that form. So I've seen some that just basically they get take off and landing, like that's it. That's all you did on an annual review. You know, some people, they detail it out. This is what we did. We did this, we did this. They put comments, did good, you know, whatever it is. My point is you're paying to have that document filled out, because if I have to go back, which is this has happened, and this is why I say that, I say, okay, let me see your 1584. So I grab the 1584 and there's nothing on it. The instructor was busy, he was busy, whatever it was. I'm like, well, I'm not going to update the computer with a blank form. So my point is, you pay for the check ride, you pay for the checkout, you give them a 0.5 to do the paperwork. Just make sure you get what you pay for, right? So,
we can start now. You showed
oh,
up.
thank God. Doc Daubert's here. Everybody, Doc Daubert. Hey, he was probably saving lives.
Probably.
Were you saving?
Just a couple.
Just a couple?
Yeah, it was less than usual.
So this is something that's kind of come to our attention, and more so from the maintenance side of the house, is I call it as simple as like component location, right? So our instructors or certain members, whatever, when they say that there's something wrong with the airplane, we would like it to be the correct part that you're talking about, right? So, for instance, hey, the shimmy dampener just exploded on 011. There's hydraulic fluid everywhere. Okay, so we get in our mind it's the shimmy dampener. And then we come in, shimmy dampener's fine, and the nose strut's flat. So the seal in the nose went away and we lost all the fluid. So if I understand the difference between I'm a pilot and I'm a mechanic, but the cool thing about the Aero Club is you can get a little bit of both. Like, you can not be a dumb pilot. There's some pilots that don't know anything, and I don't know why pilots don't know anything. Flying in the Air Force, when I was a flight engineer, most of the pilots knew all the components that I knew, if not more. And I remember flying across the ocean from Rota to Dover, Dover to Rota. I'd grab out the Dash 1, and they would sit up there and they would do Q&A with the pilot. And he's like, just back me up, Inge. It's like, okay. And we go through hydraulic system, we go through the engines. And he's reading the book and I'm reading the book. So the point is, don't be a dumb pilot. If something breaks, you need to know what it is. And if you're doing a pre-flight and nobody asks you a question, like, hey, what is that? Oh, that's a wing. Okay, great. What is that? Well, that's the left main landing gear. Okay, great. Well, what's inside that landing gear? Well, that's a brake. Okay, great. Well, what is that? Well, that's a caliper. You know what I mean? It's very simple to get to know these things. And once you know them, you know them. And if something breaks, it's a lot easier to tell maintenance exactly what's wrong versus like, yeah, there's something on the tire thing, I don't know, but it's making a weird noise, right? So my point is, don't be a dumb pilot. You guys, you pay to be here. This is a great club. We have more knowledge than we know what to do with in the maintenance side. There's at least 50 years of experience out there, and they're more than willing to help. They're more than willing to teach, and it just makes them mad when they don't know anything about the airplanes. And it's like, just, I can't harp on that enough. At least like know what a nose strut is. Know what your shimmy dampener is. What does your shimmy dampener do? You know what I mean? There's very simple things. It's not very, these are not complex airplanes. They're very simple. So, okay, off of that soapbox. So now that the winter months are coming, we're starting to get weather, starting to get garbage stuff. We have 3 airplanes for the most part. All 3 of them are going to plan on being put in the hangar. So just plan on time to push out and bring back in. If they're nice days and we're able to turn the airplane outside, great. But for the most part, we're going to probably start planning on leaving them inside, keeping them clean and warm. There's nothing worse than going out and getting in a really cold airplane, and plus batteries are not cheap. So, and yes, I would like the 2-person rule coming in and coming out of the hangar. If nobody's available, come get me, come get Kelly. They can push and Kelly can watch a wing, whatever you guys need to do. Grab your buddy, grab somebody from in there. I know it might take a little bit more time, but that little bit of time you take takes a lot less time than it does to fix an airplane. So this has been happening as well. So there's a block when you log the airplane in. So you do a cross country, right? You stop at 4 different airplanes, you get gas at 2 of them. Don't put that fuel that you bought somewhere else in dispatch, please. And I'm asking you because I'm lazy. Because I have to go in, I match the fuel barrel with everything that's reported in dispatch to what I stick out of the tank. And I'm usually within 10 or 15 gallons, which is pretty good. But if you go and you get 50 gallons at this airport, you get 50 gallons at that airport, and 3 or 4 people do it, well then there's 300 gallons that should have been gone that aren't, right? Because dispatch says that they're gone because it doesn't, I don't have 2 fuel columns. It just says fuel used for that airplane. It adds the other column and the Aero Club used. So I have to go in to figure out who did it. And then when I figure out who did it, I have to go into that invoice that they put that in. And then in that invoice, it'll tell me that they typed in, say, 50 gallons of other fuel. So then I'm saying I'm lazy. That takes a lot of time out of my day to go in and figure out who did it and stuff. So don't put other fuel. The only fuel you put in dispatch is the fuel you get out of that barrel. Right there. Simple. Everybody good? Cool. Duty rest limits. Everybody still good on those? Anybody have any question on those? If you have a question, the document is in the Google Drive. It's the DAFMAN 34152, chapter 6.16. There's the document. So, once again, fuel hoses still scratches windows, so be careful when you're doing that. Headsets and kneeboards, they scratch windows too, so keep those down. And if you do, we bring the airplanes in the hangar, and you do post-flight them in the hangar. Post-flight them just like you would outside, right? Glare shield goes on, doors are locked, columns in, handbrakes released, and it's chalked for the most part. We're having people pre-flight airplanes and the hubs and the TAC don't match, dispatch. I understand people are tired. I flip numbers sometime, so just do your best. Take a picture of it, write it down twice. I don't know. All I know is when somebody says, hey, this doesn't match, I got nothing for them, but okay, well, we'll fix it. So, we don't have any wing advisors here. Dave Fontenez isn't here. Instructor, Ed, you're an instructor. You got anything you'd like to speak to the masses about?
I'm about to say, just with the new checklist, especially the securing checklist, I know a lot of the planes shut down and everything. We've gotten out, we fielded, but just take a quick glance at the securing checklist. It'll tell you everything you need to do, every plug you need to put in, every bug you need to wipe off the wing. That's a nice bold on the checklist. And also, if you're planning on taking a plane out to rent, just make sure you put it on the schedule. You don't want to have somebody come and show up for a plane and the plane not be there because you just decided, well, it's free to go.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times this month.
And you think about it, if you don't put it on the schedule and something happens, we don't know who you are, then we have to do even more work to try to figure out who was that person that it happened to. So it's a big safety item too. Just put your name on the schedule. It's free. It takes all 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it will save a lot of headaches.
And the opposite of that is if
Yeah.
you're on the schedule
If
and you don't come in to fly, please take it off the schedule so someone else, the
and
person he was talking about, wants to come in and fly.
yeah, and I understand that, and I try to put myself in your guys' shoes when it comes to that, right? So you make a reservation like, yeah, I'm supposed to fly Friday, weather's crap Friday, so 5,000 other things happen from the time that you made it to the time you decided not to fly, and it's still a couple days away. And I know the very last thing on your mind is to remove your reservation from flight schedule prep. I understand that. And what I can ask is, please try, because most of the times, if I see that somebody's not flying, I'll send them a text. Like, hey, are you flying? Oh, no, I'm not flying. Something else came up. Okay, cool. I'll remove you then. You know what I mean? Because every now and then we have a guy, when he gets done saving lives, he wants to go fly airplanes. And he just randomly shows up flying an airplane. It's Doc Dobrev. And we've had a few others that just drop in. And I know it's a little better now because the schedule isn't as full and we're able to get airplanes from before. Like you couldn't touch one.
And he flies the A model.
Yeah, he loves. Oh, by the way, the A model's good. We sent it away. The radios work. The annual's done. It's beautiful. It flies great, and that's going to be the primary for all the private pilot students next month.
That's one of the best flying airplanes out.
That's what everybody says. And then I understand it's old. That's all you need when you're getting a private pilot.
It's not even old.
But back to what you're saying on it,
That's right.
when somebody decides that, hey, I'm not gonna fly, that's when they should make the decision. The weather's not,
Yes.
they should just take care of it right then.
I agree with you, and yes, but that doesn't happen. and I don't wanna come off bullish, like, I understand the importance of Flight Schedule Pro in everybody's life. The only reason it's important to mine is because it's part of my job, right? I see where the airplanes are at, I see who's on the schedule, we make a daily plan, all that stuff goes off of Flight Schedule Pro, so it's something I use every day. It's something you guys don't use every day. It's just like, oh, I wonder if something's free, I wanna go fly on Thursday. So, my point is, I understand how important it is to other people, because it's not as important as it is to me, because it's how I base a lot of my daily activities off of. So, if you can, in the future, when you decide not to fly, please remove it. Simple. Chief Flight Instructor notes. JJ wanted the floor for a minute, he said.
Well, not really, but I will if you don't mind.
Yeah, come on up.
Can you grab the TCO?
You can.
Just so we can show it to them?
I gotta figure out where it's at.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to y'all about was the TCO. Does everybody know what that stands for?
Please.
Okay, training course outline.
Oh.
Thanks for asking.
I thought it was time compliance.
Well, TCTO. Now, the TCO is the FAA's way of saying that we are authorized to operate as a flight school. We cannot operate as a flight school under 141. We have to operate as a 61. The AFMAN that Mac was talking about tells us to operate as a 141 school. However, anybody in here who's been 61 can walk through the door and go right into the program, but you still follow the 141 syllabus to graduate, even though you might be signing off as a 61. So that's the only thing I wanted to mention about 61. It's not a big deal. Anybody can come through the door and do that. However, what goes into getting the TCO justified? This guy just stood up here for a half an hour and never stopped talking, so you must know somebody has to pull all that together. So it's the Aero Club manager, and he's got to deal with maintenance all the time, flight ops most of the time, and then whatever else you got to do, which
Nothing.
no one knows. So
Just
yeah,
sit
the
my desk
admin
and
stuff.
spin reels, brother.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Now, for anybody who's come through the Aero Club for their tickets, they all know you get a training folder. It's a JEP folder. It's a JEP syllabus, and that's what we study and do and fly by. And when we get a training course outline approved, there's a certificate that sits right here in front of everybody's nose, and it's got a little number on it. What's that little number for?
Our center.
Okay. Where's it go?
That's in the FAA system.
It goes on the graduation certificate, which goes into the examiner's hand, and then he goes, yep, that school. So that TCO lives back in that office because it's kind of a guarded book. Now, what's in the TCO? A lot of stuff. A lot of the things he talked about tonight are in there. There's AFMAN stuff. There's
It's got the training outline for each course that we offer. It's got an outline of the building. It shows where the sim is, shows where the classroom is,
safety practices.
and that.
Yeah, and also the AFMAN tells us what we can and can't do.
Yeah.
That's in there. So the FAA comes on board anytime they really feel like it. They come in here and they go, hey man, we're going to do an inspection on you. They either call him or they don't. He shows up. They show up. They go in there. They go back there. And then they leave. And they find stuff. And then they send him stuff that says, hey, we found all this stuff, you need to correct it. So then we correct it and they say, okay, all done, paperwork shuffle back and forth, it's a madhouse. But throughout the course of the time that TCO is approved and this TCO is getting approved, all that happens all the time. So back to this guy. He's got to juggle all that stuff to get it approved. Now, yes, the maintenance people and the flight ops side of the house do their jobs, but somebody's got to put that all together. Nightmare, right?
It's pain, yeah.
Yeah, so just know that Mac has to deal with all this stuff all the time. So the TCO is a really important document for us. And you can fly here as a 61, If you came through the door that way, we can get you upgraded. You know, you go out and fly with an instructor and they say, yeah, he knows how to fly or she knows how to fly, and bam, you're on with us. But you didn't come through us as a 61. You came through us as a 141. You get an enrollment certificate in your training folder, then you get a graduation certificate to go to your check ride. Every single ticket you get here, private, instrument, commercial, and beyond, CFI and stuff, all of those do the same thing. So that's what we do here. That's our job. So the FAA was here about a week ago, 2 Mondays ago, and they wanted to do a spot inspection. But when they do the spot inspection, they'll say something to the effect of, we need to see these training folders, and we want to see this airplane. And the maintenance people don't even need to be here, really, because they're just checking documents now. And they want the chief flight instructor here, and they want, of course, want him here, but the maintenance people don't have to be here. However, sometimes it's good to have somebody here when they're here, just to clarify some things, because they dig deep. Now, on the training folders, it's not such a big deal. They go through, they look at it, and they say, okay, we went through these 5 folders and we found these couple things, and please correct them. And we're like, okay. Well, before they show up, we do try to correct things and make sure we got everything right. So when they come here, it makes their job a little easier because they got a massive bunch of paperwork to go through. But this is how we gain the certificate every 2 years. We have to go through these things. So the FAA is coming. We don't know when, right?
Yeah, probably when they open the government.
Okay, so when government comes back up and everybody has a job again, they'll probably show back up, but they're coming. So what are they doing? They're doing what we always do. We're trying to maintain that certificate there as a 141 school. If we didn't maintain the 141 certificate, and that's under AFMAN policy that we operate that way, then it would revert to 61, and that's a whole different ballgame I don't know anything about.
I think the biggest thing that would happen for the Aero Club is we wouldn't be able to use the VA. We would still fly normally, we would train to the 141 standard, but we just wouldn't be able to use the VA because the FAA would do another pile of paperwork and take our certificate, and they would list us as non-141. There's a few Aero Clubs out there that are 61 right now. They're working on getting their 141, but they fly. I mean, basically, the same way we do here, except they're just under 61 ticket, not a 141.
So we're obligated to work as 141, according to the AFMAN and the higher directives. However, like I said, you can walk through the door as a 61. There's provisions for that. However, they do say, follow the syllabus. So they kind of answer the question of 61 by saying, still follow the syllabus. So when the FAA walks through the door, they just want to know, hey, let me see all your 141 students. So we're like, phew, that's nice, because we do have a lot of 141 students, but we do also have some people that are in the bad boy file, and we train them too. But they came to us 61. Now, what's the rule on 61 students coming through the door, entering into the program?
We still follow the syllabus.
We still follow the syllabus. Is there some percentage rule that we have to kind of figure out and say where they are in their training? They can't just walk in the door and say, oh, I got all this done, right?
I think that would be up to the instructor.
It's the instructor's responsibility to try to figure out where they fit. And that is by flying with them to find that out. Now, it could be private, instrument, commercial, or beyond, but let's just say commercial. So commercial is a lot of stuff. And it's easy to check them out. If they say they've gone past the maneuver part of the training, then you go up and find out if they can do them. If they can do them, you're happy. Anyway, so the TCO is why we exist as a 141 school. That's what we try to maintain, and he deserves a round of applause for all the shit he has to put up with. I'm done.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, because you never get any accolades.
Yeah, because I'm the guy always talking crap. But anyways, to back on what he was saying about the 61 and 141, because we've actually had students here, they were going through the 141, and then all of a sudden they're like, nope, I'm going 61. I'm doing this 61 because it's cheaper and I can do this and I can do that. Well, you can't do that. You can say what you want to do. And I even spoke to, well, So Stacy Farland, just a quick wrap up on that. So Stacy Farland, who was our program manager, you remember she's come out here and done, you know, some program manager reviews. Super awesome person, while she is no longer with the Aero Clubs. Both personal and whatever reasons. I won't go into it, but long story short is, so now she's working for the Civil Air Patrol. So we have no voice anymore, like at the Air Force level, until they hire somebody new in that position. So I'm going off what Stacy said, because I asked her that specific question about the 141 and 61, and you accept 61 people in, like he was saying, like say Dr. Albert come in and you're like, hey, you know what, I've got about 42 hours, I'm almost ready for my private pilot check ride, and yeah, okay, great, you can come in as 61, but once again, you're gonna go fly with an instructor, they're gonna see where you're at, and then they're gonna follow the 141 syllabus to your graduation. And so, if you get your private and you say, okay, cool, well, I wanna go instrument 61, you can call it whatever you want, but you're gonna fly the 141 syllabus, right? So that's what we do here, we're 141, we fly 141, we accept 61 students in, and we train them the 141 syllabus. So, that's just, so it's not any, I don't wanna say it's any cheaper, I don't really know, honestly, a whole lot of difference between 61, I know it's unorganized and, you know, that's why it's a 141, because you have a syllabus and a way to get through it, so.
Well, if they're working towards 1,000 hours or 1,500 hours, it really matters not.
Yeah.
But it still has to go under the 141.
So just know that if we train under 141, if you come in 61, great, we can take you, but you're gonna train to 141, and that's exactly what I tell the people that come in. Yeah, this is what you're gonna do, exactly what JJ just said. You're gonna get up an instructor, and then we make them get the 141 syllabus if they don't have it, blah, 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 so this is what you're gonna train to. Cool. And thanks for the kind words, JJ.
You're welcome.
We don't have any maintenance guys to hear, but if I was a maintenance guy, I would say, take care of the airplanes like they were your own, clean the damn bugs off, and when you write something up or you want to talk to the maintenance guy, one, don't be afraid of them, they don't bite, and two, kind of know as much about what you're trying to talk about as you can, right? And if you don't know, it's okay not to know. We understand that this is a place of learning doctors, right, Doc? Learning doctors here. That's from a movie. But it's okay not to know, because that's what we're in. If you think about 90% of what the Aero Club does, we're a training environment. And that's what we're here for, to learn, and we're here to teach. So if you don't know, it's okay not to know the first time. I'll give it to you that one. It's okay not to know the first time. So just do what you can to know the airplanes, right? Take care of the airplanes. Pretend they're yours. They're not cheap to fix. They're not easy to fix. And a lot of times it's not quick to fix them. We just ordered a part, I think it was like 4 months ago for 50 Echo. It just showed up today. So thank God it wasn't a grounding part, because it just showed up today. That's what I got to say about that. Miss Kelly, do you have anything?
A couple of things. Credit cards, sometimes it's not happening as much as it was, but if you have an issue with your credit card and you know you have an issue, please call me. Or if I've run it and you get a decline message, call me. It just makes my life a little easier when I'm doing billing. Cleanliness, make sure that you clean up after yourself in the classroom and in the airplanes. There's been a couple of people that have gone behind you in an aircraft, and I've heard it, that they left their trash in the airplane. Please make sure you clean up even inside and out, and also in the classroom. If you find it clean, leave it clean. Tickets. I know some of you older guys already know about tickets, but even if it has a 0 balance, I still need it. Every one of them is accounted for. So if you fly or you try and go out and fly and you can't, and you bring it back in and you sign it back in and it's a 0 balance, I still have to have it. Block time. I don't know if all of you guys know about the block time with the sim, but block time, we can do it quarterly. It saves you a lot if you want to come in and just, you're bored, bad weather, whatever, it's available. And for the private pilots that are just got their private pilots and they're wanting to go up and fly with friends, I need a covenant not to sue. Make sure anybody who is in that aircraft with you, if they don't have one, they're not going anywhere. If you pick somebody up somewhere else, I have to have a copy of that before they get in that airplane. And it's good for 1 year. Okay?
Thanks, it's a great idea.
Can they send that on the, or on the phone to her, or? is
Even
that-
if you,
it
yeah,
has
you
to
can
be
either
a-
email it, you can send a picture.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so send, I mean, if you can send it in a PDF, that'd be great, but if not, at least send a picture of it.
Yep.
And then bring it with you.
Okay.
But we need to have physical evidence if it's there. That's an Air Force rule. And I had such a thought after you said something, and I completely forgot it now, but it's very important. Oh, I wouldn't have forgot it, that's why it's so important. My next question is, so the AMC Museum, I think would be a great place to hold the next safety meeting. I just happen to know people at the AMC Museum. So I'm gonna ask them, if the government's open, I hope it's open in 3 months. But the next meeting is gonna be on the 13th of January. So, would everybody be in favor of going to the AMC Museum?
Sure.
I think that'd be a cool place to have it. I mean, if they stick us in a classroom or something, I don't wanna do that, right? We'll see
You
where we
wanna
can
be
go.
amongst the cool stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
We're gonna
In the
get a
hangar.
tour from Eric Schwinski.
do what?
Is Eric Schwinski gonna give us a tour?
I don't know.
Don't let him.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
You'll be there till fucking midnight.
Okay, so, yeah, we'll plan on doing that. I can't think of it. I'll just send it out in an email if I think of it. Go ahead, Doc.
Since the museum closes at like 4, I guess they would have the gate open for us to get in there for the safety.
That is,
Yeah, once again, I don't know. I will let you know if we're gonna do it there. I'm gonna ask. And I'll work out all the logistics or whatever we need to do to get that stuff done, open the doors, whatever. But yeah, I think that'd be super cool to do it over there. Cause honestly, I would really like to kinda have a traveling meeting, right? Go to different places, see different things.
To the other.
Yeah, make it easier for the, some of the guys that live up north where we find someplace between here and there. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be here. Hell, I get bored. I've been here all day. So,
Just wanna mention also that, the control tower, if you go over there and call them, there's a phone downstairs at the tower. They will come get you, you show them your ID, and they'll take you up into the tower and they'll show you what they do. And for all the pilots here, you get to meet the ground person and the controller all at the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
and you can see that they're really not scary people. And they're okay to talk to. You want that meeting?
Anyway, my grandson thought it was cool because you can walk all the way around the outside of the tower on this little catwalk
Oh,
thing.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Well, cool. Go ahead, sir.
The taxiway work, do you have any idea like how long it's projected to go on? And my second part, the really important part I'm curious about is if it did happen to close our operations here, would it be in a NOTAM or something if we couldn't get through?
They should, yeah. So I've started reading Bruce's emails a lot closer because the last time they shut us down because they changed the window on the tower, it was on page 9 of the document. Okay, I didn't read page 9 of his document. So I always look for what's gonna happen to the Aero Club, and at one time I thought I saw in there, I wanna say it's probably 30 or 60 days. I think I might have just copied it verbatim and put it in the email. A lot of times, so I don't miss anything that he says, I just copy his email and I put it in mine. I thought I saw in there in one of his emails where we'll be able to taxi around, they'll just put those low barricades and we'll be able to taxi like we did over here. But if there's equipment out there, I don't think they'll let us taxi out there, because that's what he did last time. I remember the guy parked the excavator out there and then they left. There was nobody out there, but there was an excavator there. And so I called him and said, hey, look, there's nobody out there. He goes, well, there's equipment out there, so you can't taxi. Whether that was something so they could get paid, I don't know. But, so yeah, it's whatever it is, like I said, keep an eye on the NOTAMs. They should blast out, where we can and can't taxi, who's affected. Or his phone number's in the email. his email's in the email. One of our other members had a question about the exact same thing, and it was actually about the bash. And so he was having a conversation with Bruce over email, so he sends it out there. And by all means, I can't answer for him, so if you have a detailed question, he'd be the one to ask, 'cause
Now, mostly I just wanted to make sure if there's a way to know, like, you know, you got some on the schedule and
You
then,
won't
you
until the
know,
day of.
you know.
yeah, cause I
Is there any
think
way
it's
to
the
know for
21st. Wasn't that what it said on the email? I think 21st or so, they're supposed to start construction out there.
It really shouldn't affect us because we still should have access to 119.
Right.
So worst case scenario, if the winds are too bad, they'll probably have you taxi into the intersection and then take off whichever way you're taking off.
I mean, I understand it, you know, taxiing, you might have to do some kind of circuitous route, but that's okay, right?
That'd be a good
Most of the
idea. I'm
thing is
looking at
just-
your, base map, so you know where all the taxiways
There you
are.
go, it could be a
Oh,
training operation.
Or if you're really confused, you can do it in the sim first. So, and we can play there is a way that you can make the air, like, he could be the air traffic controller at the tower and he can tell you what to do in the sim and you can do it, so.
Yeah, the
Pretty cool.
notes have been getting lengthy on the what's closed
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah.
And it gets almost a book now, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been.
And if it gets,
The Aero Club cannot operate.
and just know that if
We
it gets
haven't
that
got
bad, that we're not gonna be able to operate out of here, we'll move a couple up to like Delaware Airpark, like we've done before, the instructors, they're the ones that actually said, hey, I'll move the airplane, can I move it today? I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead and move it. You know what I mean, I have no problems moving our stuff, just know that, you know, maintenance and fuel is gonna be a little bit different issue, but we'll work that. But yeah, by all means, whatever it takes to get you guys flying, I don't care, I'm for it. So, no is not in my heart, man. Cool, Mr. Davenport,
No,
How come we don't have lights out in the parking lot?
I don't know, light switch was on.
I saw it burn out when I was pulling in.
Huh. That's a good question. If anybody
Broken
on,
again.
in the world on the other side of the camera knows anybody but CE or from CE, they can answer.
She's furloughed right now, so that's not gonna happen.
Anyway, all right, so enough of this. Thanks for coming out. The group is small, but I appreciate everybody that came out. Any questions for me?
I have two small things.
Oh, you already had your time.
I forgot it. Once you're done in the aircraft, put the checklist somewhere that is easily accessible. I know a lot of people are using iPads, but a lot of people do still use paper. I've found them stuck almost anywhere in the plane. I've found them in the baggage compartment. I've found them in the back seat, behind the seats, under the seat.
It should be right there in the compartment to your left. It's a little
But-
cup holder.
But if for some reason you need to move it, once you're done,
Put it back.
put it back, put it on the seat, put it on the floor propped up next to the fuel selector, put it somewhere where people aren't looking for it. As we get into the cold, the big thing, and I've actually seen an engine fire from this. If you're cranking the engine, do not pump the throttle. I've seen people just sit there and pump, and you'll have gas just pouring out the bottom, and the exhaust is right there, and I've actually seen somebody catch their engine on fire. That's probably the #1 reason for
Oh, you
engine
wouldn't want to
fires.
see Dave if you did that.
So,
Or overpriced.
big thing is
Don't get
that,
on his bad side.
big thing, yes, you can pump the throttle, but do it before you even crank. Pump it once, pump it 3 times, but don't touch the throttle while you're cranking.
I got an idea. Do what the checklist tells you to do.
Yes.
If you go outside the checklist, talk to maintenance.
I got one more thing.
Sir?
Piggyback on what Ed said. So I was flying with Ed when this happened. We're sitting on the ramp, we're getting ready to start, clear prop, and Ed's like, do not give it, don't prime it and don't pump it. And sure enough, it started right up. Cold start, first start of the day.
The checklist has been changed, the starting checklist has been changed a bit to try to make it easier because 011 is famously hard to start in the cold. So there is a line item to pump the throttle, but it's before you even touch that key switch. And there's now a little blurb about how long, not over exceeding the starter duty cycle. And if you try more than I believe 3 or 4 times, that you need to wait 2 minutes. That way we're not burning up the starters.
Yeah, those aren't cheap either. I don't know if you know that.
And-
$1,500 a starter.
And the more you're just cranking on it, the less chance it's probably gonna start until the battery dies.
Those aren't cheap either. Those are $900.
My last thing is, since we use the primers, since they're little detent notch, the outer collar will move a little bit. So as you're checking in and lock, make sure the silver collar is tight. It's so easy to just, as you're doing, try to twist it to the right. If it twists, turn it to the right to tighten it up
Until it stops twisting.
until it stops twisting. I have found that they've been fully disconnected and the primer's out. So it could add an engine roughness, it could fail the engine, or it could just put a lot of extra fuel into there and increase the fire risk. So
Good idea.
So,
it's as easy as check and lock. Don't just pull on it. Check to see. I always check the silver collar first, make sure it's locked, and then pull on the primer, make sure that's locked.
So what happens to the airplane if the primer is not locked? Anybody?
Smoke.
No.
Way to go, Jim.
Well, it happened to me.
Okay, it happened to me, but it was in a Warrior, and I don't know, Cessna could be a little different, but
Yeah.
here's what happened. We're in the pattern, we're in the downwind, we're getting ready to make the turn for the base, and the engine starts running really rough. And I'm like going, thank God we can just turn the airplane and land on the runway, which is exactly what we did. Searched all over, because if you just look at it, you go, oh no, it's closed. No, it wasn't. It was not closed. It was back about less than 1/8 of an inch. So that's all it takes is don't try it. Make sure it's locked. But it was 1/8 of an inch, and the student sitting in the left seat said, no, it's locked. And I'm like, pull that knob. He pulled, it came right out. It was like 1/8 of an inch, and that's when the engine started running really rough. If we would have been farther away, I don't know, would I've been smart enough to know if it was the primer? Just by looking at it, you go, no, it looks like it's locked.
Yeah.
It isn't. So,
Well, I know that when we got 2.8 Fox back, the engine back from overhaul, they were running it and one of the seals was off just a little bit and it was getting more air. And that thing ran like garbage. So just the slightest crack in there, to get air will completely change that engine. So if you're doing the same thing with that,
And that and that all depends on the primer. If them O-rings leak a little air, you're gonna get a lot of air. If them O-rings are really nice, and it might suck a lot more fuel and make it a lot more rich. So it might lean out the engine to the point that it's rough, or it's just not getting enough fuel, or it makes it extremely rich where you're now not being able to burn all that fuel and raw fuel is going right through the exhaust. And it's gasoline, which will ignite really easy.
it's kind of what it's designed for.
Yeah. And that muffler is pretty hot.
What's up, Jim?
What a concept.
Are you telling us to?
Scratching my poor old water filter can.
Oh, okay, well, we'll get you off your butt here in a minute, because we're gonna end this. It's been an hour.
Throw
So,
us out.
anybody got anything? If not, I'll try to send out emails as much as I can about airplane updates. We just know that if something goes down and I take it off the schedule, if it's gonna be a while, I'll send out an email, but if it's for something we can get fixed within the next day or so, I'll try to keep you updated as much as I can. But, yeah, once again, thanks for coming out. Eat the damn pizza, take some cookies, not you, Joe. Yeah, thanks for everything else.